So you get a clone.
Oh, it basically mimics
she moves the opposite.
So it's mimicking my stuff. If I go left,
oh my
if I
God,
go
so you
right,
can...
okay. And it shoots exactly where you're shooting.
It shoots exactly where you're shooting? Does it do full damage? Oh my God!
Wow. Oh, it uses abilities
And it goes
too?
invisible. And dashes?
Oh shit.
Wait, it does all the abilities. Can it ult?
No, it's basically...
Wait a minute. Your clone is shooting the guy that you're hitting.
No, it's basically shooting. Do you see how it's shooting?
Oh my God. Talk about confirming kills. That is wild. Wait, and then she starts shooting down there?
Down there, look, ready?
What the hell? Wow. Oh my God, guys. We're like, we're never getting off Psylocke. 100% Psylocke one trick. Oh, thank God.
Team Frost, a new map, the Hellfire Gala, Ultron, and a lot of balance changes.
Goddamn.
They're certainly going to fuel that fire.
Is that Homelander? Does that not look like Homelander?
Now, a few days ago, I did go over my first impressions of every hero change, but you guys definitely seem to love the side-by-side comparisons, and now we have the gameplay to do so. To look at Season 1 versus Season 2 and see exactly the difference of the gameplay.
Okay.
Let me tell you guys, I think there's some hidden gems within this patch that you might not realize. Let's jump in. All right, guys, first up is Steve Rogers, and Captain America is going to have his base health reduced from 675 down to 650, but he does have the seasonal bonus with Bucky Barnes, in which you are the anchor. You don't need to have Winter Soldier in the lobby to get the bonus, so this is a net trade.
What? As the team-up anchor, Team Captain America gains maximum health increase of 100 and a 5% boost in damage output. Winter Soldier unlocks the devastating stellar impact ability through his team-up with Captain America.
75 bonus health, which is a lot for a character that's main niche is survivability. In addition to the bonus health as well, he's going to have 5% damage across the board.
Dealing with the Captain America, a good one.
Now, to compensate all these extra bonuses, they are reducing his shield value of Living Legend from 400 down to 350.
That's
which,
huge.
to be honest, is going to be felt a little bit, but he does have a lot of health to compensate, and you should be getting the job done faster because, well, you have extra damage to do so. And last but not least, guys, you didn't often see Captain America with Thor, but he is going to lose access to that team-up, so no longer can you get the, Thunder Shield with him. Next up, we move to Doctor Strange, who seems like he gets a nerf every single patch. He will be gaining 100 extra HP from his anchor bonus, but in testing and just by playing Doctor Strange,
Hold on. As the team-up anchor, Doctor Strange gains maximum... Okay, so whenever you're an anchor, it sounds like any anchor is going to gain 100 extra health, or is that just the tanks? That's interesting. Scarlet Witch unlocks a new magical Mystic Burst ability through her team up with Doctor Strange. I saw a clip of that, and it looks devastating.
So they're doing two things to reduce his offensive capabilities. First, they're going to decrease his dagger damage per projectile from 18 to 16, resulting in a loss of like thousands of damage per match.
Thank God.
On top of that, they're reducing his Maelstrom of Madness, his AoE pop, with a damage ratio change of 1.3 down to 1.2. Now, why this is so significant is he can no longer one-shot 250 health heroes within support ults, which was one of the biggest things about him.
Yeah,
and even though they're giving him 100 extra health, which truly is only 50 extra health because they just got rid of 50 the last patch, this point blank is just going to hurt the Vanguard, and he's no longer in Hulk's team up as well. Now, with some good news, we move on to Bruce Banner, the Hulk, who's getting some great buffs here. First of all, they're going to be increasing his base movement speed from 600 to 650.
I agree with that.
Which may not seem like a lot, but when you combine that with a decrease in minimum charge time for his incredible leap from 0.7 seconds to 0.5 seconds, you should be able to become much more of a menace against squishies and chase down your targets. And overall, the feel of his dive kit and hunting his prey is going to feel that much better. Now, if that wasn't enough, probably the biggest change by far is the reduction in cooldown of his indestructible guard, his green bubble. Go down from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, which is a huge change because this is where you...
Okay, something I've been worried about with this new season is this idea that now it's going to be a very shield meta, like very, very, very shield meta. We're going to have Hulk shield that comes up twice as fast or lasts longer. Yeah, so you get it quicker. Yeah, oh my god. Oh, man, that's going to be so annoying. And then I saw a glimpse of Emma Frost, and she's just all about the shield.
Guard his green bubble. It's going to go down from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, which is a huge change because this is where you base a lot of the gameplay loop of the Hulk. You'll be able to dive in a lot more often, protect your teammates from ultimates, and overall, the Hulk is just going to feel that much better, which he needed to because he was definitely kind of left out of the meta.
I do think he'll feel better
1.5.
to play
now. The Master
now.
of Magnetism Magneto is getting a small nerf to his ultimate. They're going to be increasing the time it takes to charge it by nearly 10%, which is not that big of a deal. Combine that he's going to be with White Queen and that new team up. Magneto was already an S tier, just top tank within the game, and he's going to stay that. One of the best within Rivals, and I think he's going to be a leading candidate to get some nerfs come 2.5. All right, Peni Parker, guys, has not received any buffs since the launch of the game.
I'll be honest, guys. We haven't even got to Emma Frost, and I'm pretty sure Emma Frost is going to be perma-banned in the game. Perma-banned. If you're at a diamond or above... Oh, no, they're switching it, aren't they, to gold? If you are a gold or above, perma-banned Emma Frost.
Game, and that changes massively today. Now, she's already one of the most dominant tanks since the launch of the game.
Cyberweb Cluster now has a chance to crit, reducing movement speed penalty while firing Cyberweb Cluster from 40% to 20%. Oh, so she's going to be faster overall. Because one of the most annoying things to play, or with Peni, in my opinion, was the fact that every time you shoot, you're slowed down. I like to be fast. I like to be mobile. As a Psylocke main, you know what I mean?
Game, and that changes massively today.
Massive health
one of the most dominant tanks all the way up to diamond rank within rank play. And these buffs are going to make her that much harder to go up against. I mean, you already have low rank struggle with the traps, mines, and just the overall gameplay of her bunker playstyle. But now her cyberweb cluster has the chance to crit, which is absolutely insane. And it's going to rack up the damage in Peni. But on top of this, you move so much quicker while firing the primary. As you used to get hit with a 40% speed reduction, now it's only a 20% speed reduction.
That's so much better.
Resulting in her entire flow and gameplay being that much smoother, more consistent, and more threatening. Oh, and on top of this, they're giving her 100 extra HP, going from 650 to 750, because why not? And this is going to help a lot of the problems she had. Not having a way to protect herself. She does get self-healing, but Wolverines could kidnap her and kind of melt her down. All of this combined, forget the Hellfire Gala season. This is the season of Peni Parker. So the thing came out last season and definitely made a splash in the meta. They're going to be taming a very small nerf to him by decreasing his damage reduction for his leap for himself and his teammates from 30% down to 25%. Now, I would say a majority of kind of lower rank things just use this as an escape and you won't feel it that much. But in high rank, this was great to pair with something like StarLord's Legendary to keep him alive that much more, so it will be felt a bit more in high rank play, but for the most part, you're not going to notice this all too much. Next up, we move to the Mighty Thor, who's going to get an increase in base health from 525
I think he needed a health increase,
but
to be
sadly,
honest.
this is a wash of losing 25 health because he was a seasonal anchor bonus hero, getting 100 HP. So now he's going to have 25 less. But in return, you trade 25 HP to get an increase in his base movement speed from 600 to 650.
Faster is better, in my opinion. I like that.
Movement speed buff, which for somebody that likes to hunt down his prey and chase targets, this is really nice. He's going to love this. All right, now for Black Widow, this is going to be a small buff, but it's not a bad...
As a lot of you guys know, my duo partner is a full-on Widow one-trick. Not really. He could play pretty much every character. But he's a very good top-tier Widow player, and I'm excited to see what she has to offer here.
All right, now for Black Widow, this is going to be a small buff, but it's not a bad one at all and should result in more kills.
Okay, what is it? Added a new effect where Black Widow can directly shoot after releasing the second kick of Edge Dancer and after using Electroplasma Explosion. An auto-reload? Oh, because of the cocking feature, right? Oh, that is actually massive. Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed when watching Jared is he'll melee them, he'll kick them, he'll pull them back in, and they're stunned, and then he has to go before he can shoot him again. That's a pain in the...
Natasha is going to get a new added effect where Black Widow can directly shoot after releasing the second kick of Edge Dancer and after using her Electroplasma Explosion.
That's good.
Now, I don't play a lot of her, but this should be felt the most when you have someone that's trying to chase you down. Let's say Black Panther, Iron Fist. Now, typically you can do a shot, maybe a couple of kicks.
The tone cosmetic on Thor is enough to make you play him.
Shot to finish
We're going to have to check it out.
And well, you've got to reload, but now it's a lot quicker and you should be able to get them down that much faster. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a change, because compared to Hawkeye, which is a sniper as well, they can't help themselves. Black Widow gets a buff, Hawkeye must get 10.
What? Reduce the slow effect while charging the bow from 30 to 20? Faster's better. I'm a big fan of faster. I'm telling you. Increase both instances of damage for hypersonic arrow from 50 to 55. Okay. Wait, are you, what? So you're telling me if you hit them both, it's going to do 110 damage? Holy moly. Decrease energy cost for Hunter's Sight from 3,700 to 3,100 and improve the bow draw speed increase from 3.35 to 1.5 or 1.35 to 1.5. I don't know what improve that means.
Guy is absolutely feasting here within the changes. An already slept on hero is getting a reduction in the slow effect while charging the bow from 30% to 20%. So you can move around that much faster while charging the bow. His hypersonic arrow is getting technically a 10 damage buff as it's going from 50 to 55, but it has the capability to hit the target twice, which in practice has felt like a very nice change to the kit. And then lastly, guys, for whatever reason, they reduced the time it takes to charge his ultimate by 16%, going from 3,700 down to 3,100. And on top of this, they improved the bow draw speed increase from 1.35 to 1.5. All these combined, hide your Lunas, hide your Cloak, because Hawkeye's looking to hunt. All right, the Goddess of Death, Hela, is going to have a...
Did anyone notice a single difference there?
Increase from 1.35 to 1.5. All these combined, hide your Lunas, hide your Cloak, because Hawkeye 3.5 to 1.5. All these combined, hide your Lunas, hide your Cloak, because Hawkeye's
is the one on the right hitting faster?
The Goddess of Death, Hela, is going to have a bit of a trade in her mobility, which they'll be increasing the cooldown for her Astral Flock from 12 seconds to 15 seconds, making it a bit more tough to get around the map, and you're going to have to decide when to use
I hate Hela.
to close in on enemies or to escape. Hela mains are definitely going to feel this a little bit, but in return, the increased spell field damage of Piercing Knight goes from 30 to 35, which is also an increase to the overall damage because direct hits also calculate the spell damage. In addition, they're also decreasing the cooldown for Soul Drainer from 12 seconds down to 10 seconds. This is one of the biggest parts about her combo, especially if you're going on the flank and trying to surprise another Hela or DPS. We see this used all the time, and for 16% difference cooldown is insane. Now, I've got a fever, and the only prescription is more Human Torch buffs, and boy, did we get it. They're going to be reducing the attack interval for his fire cluster from 0.6 to 0.5, meaning the launching time of the primary attack projectile has been advanced. And you can tell that definitely he already did good damage, and he's going to do a lot more up close and personal. Now, in addition to this, they're going to give him a new effect with his Flaming Meteor, immediately gaining 75 bonus health, which will start to fall off after 3 seconds, but that's more than enough time.
That's actually a very interesting change. I like that. Because he's never more vulnerable than when he's diving and hitting that ground. Seriously. I can't tell you the amount of Johnny Flames I've killed as Psylocke when he's dove like that. So that's actually an interesting change. That's going to make him a lot more viable.
Cluster buff. But to compensate this, they do increase the cooldown from 12 seconds to 15. Next up, we have Iron Man, who's going to get a slight reduced hitbox size. And I got...
Iron Man is my favorite person to fight against when I'm playing Psylocke. My favorite person. If I see they have an Iron Man, I go, oh, GG, we just won. Wow, we just won. Easiest kill of my life.
Gotta be honest, it's a very small change, so don't expect anything crazy impactful, but it is nice to get any more added survivability as a flyer. This is something I think if you play Iron Man all the time, you might notice, but if you don't, it's not going to be that big of a change. But way bigger than that, he's going to gain 100 bonus health when activating his armor
that is big.
Or his gamma overdrive.
That's
now, this
big.
will start to fall off after 5 seconds, which is a good amount of time, and this is awesome for getting up close and personal with your death beam. Or even better, you can pop this before you ult, and you have that much better of a chance to survive to get the ult off completely. All right, guys, next up we move on to Iron Fist, and this is one of those changes that I think if you play a lot of them, you're going to love it, and if you dabble with the character, it's going to feel marginally the same. So first of all, guys, they reduced the bonus max health gain from his Meditate Harmony Recovery from 150 to 100. But the fall off rate's going to be reduced from 25 per second to 15 per second, meaning you'll have, you know, the bonus health a little longer, but it's less health. They also lowered his fixed damage from his kind of tank busting ability from 10 to 9, but they increased the percentage damage of the enemy's max health per strike from 1.7% to 2.1%. Now, I don't expect you to feel this damage at all, really, against squishy characters, but you get a nice little damage increase against tanks. And then lastly, and maybe most significantly, the cooldown of his kick is going to go from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. And this kick can take you a pretty far distance, so you should be able to get in a lot easier, try to get some eliminations, and then get out that much more swiftly. All right, so Mr. Fantastic got a load of changes, and we're going to read through them all, and then I'll tell you about what I think this is going to do for the character.
All right.
Now, first of all, they're going to increase the base health of Mr. Fantastic from 350 to 375, adding to his overall survivability. They're going to boost the damage of his stretch punch from 60 to 65 and from 75 to 80 while in the inflated state, so both of his main primary attacks, no matter which form he is going to get a damage boost.
So he's getting a massive
his flexible
buff.
elongation is going to get a new effect. This will now make them suffer a 35% slow effect. And on top of this, they're going to make the cooldown go from 10 seconds down to 8 seconds. So far, everything here talked about today has been a buff, but a little bit of a nerf coming in.
I hate slowing moves.
Reduce the elasticity gain from his elastic strength, his passive ability from 30 to 20, while the elasticity provided by stretch punch is increased from 5 to 8. Now, after entering the inflated state, the bonus health provided to himself has been reduced to 450 to 400. Now, why this is probably a big deal is you used to be able to use about 3 of his abilities, and with his passive combined with 2 punches, you could get into his big threatening mode, but now you need to hit 3 abilities with 5 punches to get into that big mode. So it's definitely a bit more of a change there. Playing some Fantastic myself, I think one thing that was nice about it is you were able to kind of hover around the 90% range to go into big mode, and then you could easily get into it fast if you needed to. So this will take some adjusting overall. Last but not least, when Mr. Fantastic uses his ultimate, you're going to immediately gain bonus health equal to that you gained in the inflated state. You simply get it all by just pressing the ultimate button, which is definitely going to add to his much needed survivability.
Holy moly.
The ult. All right, so MoonKnight has had his hand of Khonshu.
Okay. I love playing MoonKnight. I am a Psylocke main. I love playing MoonKnight. I'm really excited for these changes.
Adjusted pretty much every patch since launch. And well, they're going to do so yet again by extending the duration of the effect from 3.5 seconds up a full second, which is going to be a very noticeable change. On top of this, they'll be increasing the number of talons, the hands generating from this period from 14 to 18, and the fall speed is also going to be slightly enhanced. But to compensate this, there's a new damage fall-off mechanic for the spell field that's been added. So it's going to start at the beginning in the center of the Hand of Khonshu, and then it's going to reach a maximum reduction of 70% at 5 meters, which is obviously a pretty big damage fall.
Hold on, I want to read this. So, extend the duration of the Hand of Khonshu from 3.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds, so it's a second longer. Increase the number of talons from 14 to 18. Okay, a new damage fall-off mechanic for the spell field has been added, beginning at 1.5 meters from the center, reaching a maximum of 70%.
More good stuff. They're going to be increasing his crescent dart projectile speed from 120 meters per second to 150.
So he shoots faster.
Primary damage increased that much more. They're going to be faster and more lethal. On top of this, he gains a lot of survivability as the Moon Blade is going to get a new effect, gaining 25 bonus health with
oh my god,
hit, up to a maximum of 100. Now, all you really need is 2 different opponents for this to get its main effect to bounce back and forth between them. And after 3 seconds of this bonus health not increasing, it's going to start to fall off at a rate of 20 per second. Lastly, they've identified that he needs...
That is massive, because Moon Knight's survivability is so bad. I seriously feel like he's the squishiest character in the game. You know, I told you I love fighting against an Iron Man as Psylocke. I also love fighting against a Moon Knight, because literally, even if I miss a shot, he's dead.
Needs a bit more of an escape option when getting closed in by someone like Psylocke, and they're going to speed up his Moon Knight hook pull time from 0.4 seconds to 0.15.
That's great.
The reduction in how long it takes to get this thing going, resulting in a much faster getaway. All right, guys, moving on to Scarlet Witch, and I want to start things out by
nervous
saying
about this one, to be honest.
Her anchor bonus with her chaotic bond with Magneto, which gave her a permanent 10% damage boost across the seasons. So everything here is going to really wash out the majority.
So remove chaos control percentage damage while increasing fixed damage from 60 to 80. So now her base damage is just better. It's at 80 now. Increase Chthonian burst projectile damage from 35 to 40 and spell field damage from 35 to 40. So she's just getting massive damage buffs nonstop. Increase the cooldown of Mystic Projection from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. Okay. And reduce phase state time from 2 seconds to 1.5. Okay, that is actually good. Because there's nothing worse than trying to fight a Scarlet Witch and she just floats away. Twice. And I'm just sitting there like this with my hands in my pockets waiting for her to come down from whatever she's doing. Man, it's annoying. Okay. And then rework the slow effect of reality erasure to start at 1.5 seconds instead of starting immediately with a linear increase to a 35% slow over 3.5 seconds. Okay. So when she uses her ult, she's obviously slowed down, which is why she's so easy to kill. So she won't even slow down until she's 1.5 seconds into it.
Percentage damage while increasing the fixed damage from 60 per second to 80 per second, which is just straight up a nerf for the most part. She'll be losing 15 damage per second on tanks and is gaining roughly 5 damage per second on squishies. Now they also increase her AoE bombs, her little projectile damage from 35 to 40, and the spell field damage from 35 to 40, so it's going to be a 10 damage net change.
Okay.
So you'll be getting a just ever so slightly 3 damage total increase on these with the reduction of that 10%. Probably the biggest nerf to her kit by a good amount is the increased cooldown of Mystic Projection.
Good.
Her fade ability is going to go from 8 seconds
Sick
to
and
10
tired
seconds.
of it.
So you're going to have a much longer wait time to be able to escape. And the phase state, which this is the biggest part, the time within it is going to go from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. This is a big change, especially for those that love Scarlet Witch. Now, a lot of people feel like, obviously, her new team up is going to make her that much better.
What is that?
If Strange does get picked at all, he will, but it's going to obviously be less than before. But since she does have auto aim, people don't want her to be too good.
Yeah.
Now, last but not least, they did rework the slow effect of her reality eraser. Her ultimate is going to start at 1.5 seconds instead of starting immediately, with a linear increase to 35% slow over 3.5 seconds. Overall, I think this is going to add to creativity of when to use this ultimate and trying to line it with portals and or in and out of team fights. Next up, we move to Peter Quill. StarLord is going to be getting a nerf in his blaster barrage damage from 80 per second to 75. But much bigger than that, they'll be introducing a new damage fall-off mechanic starting at 4 meters and maxing out to an 80% reduction.
Sick and tired of that.
8 meters.
Even though I'm learning him right now.
StarLord. All right, so Bucky Barnes has been now one of the most banned heroes and honestly one of the most hated. But he is an important piece to the game when it comes to anti-dive and handling other heroes.
He is a big anti-dive. You're right. And you know who's not anti-dive? Psylocke. He's so annoying to fight against. I'd rather fight against 2 Namors than a Bucky. Okay, increase the cooldown time for Bionic Hook from 8 to 12. Oh, beautiful. I love that. I love that so much. Reduce base damage of the Kraken from 100 to 80, but lower the culling threshold from 20% to 15. Reduce base damage, so it only does 80, but lower the culling. But lower the culling threshold from 20 to a maximum health of 15. That sounds better. Okay, hold on. Let's just see what he says.
Now, Bucky's going to be gaining a brand new team up with Captain America, giving him more survivability to jump to allies in a time of need. And he also gains a brand new counter attack that's going to help reload his primary pistol. However, they're going to be hitting him with back-to-back nerfs as they're going to increase the cooldown time of his bionic hook from 8 seconds to 12 seconds, just a net 50% increase of cooldown time, and they'll be reducing his base damage of Kraken impact from 100 to 80.
Excellent.
In addition to this, you'll have to get them down to 15%.
Yes! You see that red bar? All he has to do is get this health bar to there. Now he has to get it way further. That's massive. That is a massive update.
In addition to this, you'll have to get them down to 15% health instead of 20 to
get
the automatic reset effect. Now, Wolverine is going to get an increase in rage from his basic Savage Claw hit from 7 to 10, but just about everything else is going to get a rage decrease.
So he gets
you can see here his Berserk Claw Strike has been decreased from 7 to 5. His Feral Leap ability used to give you 20, now only 10. And his Vicious Rampage is going to go from 20 down to 15. However, now when Wolverine gets hit by an instance of damage, instead of 3 rage per hit, he'll be gaining 5. Now, lastly, they're going to be reducing the knockdown time from the impact of his last stand from 1 second down to 0.75 seconds. which is a small change, but also should help out a lot of strategists
That's
live
big.
that much longer.
That's big.
All right, so Adam Warlock is getting an increased cooldown for his Soulbound from 30 seconds to
Yes!
40 seconds, which as I
Thank
stated
God!
before, you won't see in team fights as you typically only use it once per fight anyway,
Okay.
but you'll notice this a lot in domination and in neutral fights. This will definitely feel that much more awkward. But his Karmic Revival is getting just pretty much a net buff across the board. Instead of getting 100 fixed health damage upon revival, he's now going to restore 30% of fallen allies' maximum health, which is a very marginal nerf for squishies, but a huge buff for Vanguard.
Huge buff
Cloak
for
and Dagger.
tanks.
Now, right now, this is actually currently bugged. It's actually disappearing after the first instance of healing. But what they want to do, and what I think will change by the time Season 2 hits, is the duration of the first 3 healing zones will no longer be calculated separately, and instead now all of them will stay up the same amount, and when the final healing zone ends, they're all going to end together. This should make Cloak and Dagger's ultimate way more dependable and useful.
Way more
Now,
dependable.
Invisible Woman, whose shield is insane paired with Hela, StarLord, and pretty much anybody else,
The most annoying part of Invisible Woman is her stupid shield thing.
is going to get a decrease in shield value from 300
Yes!
down to 250. Now, in addition,
Thank God.
Loki's also
Thank
going
God.
to see a nerf as well to his regeneration domain, his green circle, his crystals, his runestones.
His totems? Are you referring to the biggest counter to Psylocke players that in existence?
Again, whatever you want to call them. The cooldown is going to go from 25 seconds to 30 seconds. Not that big of a deal if I say so myself.
I love it.
Now, Mantis is seeing a bunch of change
I love
here,
it.
and it doesn't seem like much, but trust me, it's a lot. First of all, her health is being nerfed from 275 down to 250,
Good, suck
which
it.
is a massive difference. Definitely tough to take such a big nerf, but the buff she is getting is going to make her one of the highest skill ceiling heroes within the game.
What do we got?
The uptime with her orbs now is going to be insane, as the effects of the healing flower and allied inspiration can be stacked up to a maximum of 16 seconds. So you can now see that you can stack the healing and or damage, letting it last that much longer.
What?
Giving this to a flanking hero or maybe a tank, and overall having to use less because of the way the health works with the instant healing orb. All right, last but not least, we get to Rocket Racoon, and this one is a lot. So I want to go ahead and read everything they did, and then I'm going to break down my opinions of the changes. So first off, guys, they are reducing the per second healing of these spheres from 70 health per second to 50 health per second. But they're going to add a new effect of a one-time healing of 55 health to any ally that it hits, meaning one orb can hit multiple allies. The projectile speed is also going to be reduced, and so this is worded very weird, but it's going to slow down even more so as it hits allies.
Okay.
In addition, in a shock to most people, they're going to be extending the cooldown of the jetpack dash from 6 seconds to 10 seconds, and they're going to reduce...
Oh, really? Oh, really, Rocket? Well, say goodbye to Rocket, guys. His only way to get away from me or Jared is now gone.
Reduce the dash distance from 10 meters to 8 meters. A 40% increase in cooldown is wild for a hero that thrives in mobility. Now, his ultimate is seeing a complete overhaul as the damage boost is now going from 40% down to 25%, but they're adding a new effect of during the ability's duration. Anybody within it is going to be receiving an additional 100 bonus health per second.
That's actually awesome. I think this is a really good change. Because Rocket was kind of like, yeah, he's got the damage boost, okay, but why would you use Rocket when you could use, you know, Luna or another healer with a support ult?
Capping out 150.
So this could actually be massive.
We'll
have to see how it plays in the actual game, though.
After 1 second at a rate of 75 per second. Additionally, now the ultimate is about 8% longer to charge. So in short, guys, what I think about the Rocket ultimate is that the healing is much better. It feels better, and it's going to just be way more clutch in times of need, especially for instant healing. And so you should feel a good impact here on him being a pure healer, which for the most part is going to be applicable for, let's say, anybody under, I don't know, Grandmaster is going to like these changes a ton. But in exchange, you're getting rid of things that made Rocket so unique, and they pride themselves of saying that strategist does not equal
Seems
healer.
like a brain dead fix,
It's kind of counterproductive
or a band-aid
here,
fix.
as Rocket had more of a role of this strategist that could do a lot of different things compared to some of the others. And now, well, I think his mobility is definitely
Adios, you rat. Exactly.
I think
He's
people
gone.
will adjust. It's not going to be the end of the world, but definitely is going to be that much harder. And you're
Yeah,
going to
sorry,
have to wall
Rocket.
crawl that much more. And so you're going to have to pay attention to just mastering his kind of movement tech. But as for his ultimate, listen, I think that the team, again, let's say, Grandmaster and below is going to like this ultimate better. Communicating his 40% damage increase with your team was pretty tough most of the time at low rank play.
It's true.
So in general, for the large lot of rockets, this will feel like a buff across the board. But for ones that really mastered the craft, I can see them not liking this change for a lot of reasons. First of all, now, I think the damage increase going from 40 to 25 was a bit too much. 35% would have been fine to me.
I'm sure
the bonus
Rocket
health is
mains
nice,
are
and
not
it's
going to like
definitely
that
gonna be
change. I'm
more
sure.
like the other support ultimates that we already have, but a little bit weaker. And so it kind of feels like he's not the master of none, and because it's going to be nice, but it feels like he kind of does both things semi-good instead of maybe just his damage really good.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of extra help.
Interesting.
I would have been fine even with just 100 bonus
Okay,
health cap
like I said,
with,
I think we'll have
keeping
to
the
see
damage
how
the
it plays
same or
out in the
something along
actual game.
lines.
We'll
Giving
see.
him more of that identity. He's losing Bucky in his team up, so you already have that going against him. I think Rocket's still going to be a great hero. His healing's going
And
to be much
Psylocke
better.
players do be rejoicing
Honestly,
over
it
this, I
feels like
think.
he took a little bit of an unwanted change to that mobility hit, and his ultimate is losing a bit of his identity, although I think it is going to be, for the large majority, welcomed. So there you guys go. That's all the side-by-side comparisons. Hopefully,
It was a great
you enjoyed
video.
the video. If you
I'm gonna
appreciated
link you guys the
effort in
video.
video itself, subscribe down
Give it a
below
like.
for more content. A lot of season 2 stuff
Give
on
it
the way.
some,
And until the
give
next
it some
one,
love,
happy
guys.
rivaling.
Gotcha.